Join us for Star Wars Rogue Squadron on the third ever episode of the Time Hop Podcast. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Time Hop Podcast. I'm your host, David Lozada. I'm joined with Lindsay Schubert.
Hello.
There she is. And Tim Ronan.
Hello.
There he is. In case you don't know, the Time Hop Podcast is a podcast that plays games of the past to let you know if they're worth playing today. Today's episode is on Star Wars Rogue Squadron, celebrating its 20th anniversary this December. It was originally released for the Nintendo 64, and it was made by LucasArts and Factor 5. But first, I want to ask, how are you doing, guys? How are you doing, Lindsay? How was your week?
I'm good.
Just good? Just okay?
My week's been good.
She saw Breaking Benjamin yesterday, right?
Yes. Breaking Benjamin, Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh, really?
They were, two bands also opened for them. What was it?
Small bands.
From Ashes to New and In
Really?
Flames.
In Flames? What? Are you serious? In Flames open for them?
Yes.
Holy shit. That's big. I love In
It
Flames.
was let me see. It was about. Damn, it was a long ass concert.
Wow.
It was about 5 hours.
Oh, it was one of those like the longer, like Taste of Chaos, like a festival type of thing, like a metal festival type of thing.
I guess a radio show, a local radio show, is hosting it for us.
Gotcha.
So
That's so
and they
cool.
were doing it to raise money for St. Jude's.
Oh, wow. Awesome. I love St. Jude's too. I would have gone to that if I lived in Florida.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
Holy crap! It was insane last night.
I love Breaking Benjamin.
I'm a huge Breaking Benjamin fan. I've been into them since early-ish high school. So
Yep.
that was
same.
about like 2010 for me.
Yeah, that was about the same time for me too. Yeah. Yeah, they're great. I love them.
Right.
How about you, Tim? How was your week?
Pretty good.
Tim got a new job, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did indeed.
Yeah. Writing, doing transcriptions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always
It's
good.
yeah, money and surviving. And
Money is good. Surviving is good.
I generally hear. Yeah, I hear that not dying is like pretty hot these days.
I hear that too. I hear that too. I
All
live in
about
New York City. I mean, I could die any second. Who knows? Okay, let's move on
I don't know, I
to
hear the opposite.
what, in Florida? It's the opposite in Florida?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean, people die all the time over here.
Jesus Christ. What? Why? Alligators?
Yes, alligators are eating them all.
Alligators in your toilets? That's
Yes.
the concept up here in the tri-state area. That's the conception that we have of Florida. There are alligators in all your toilets, snakes, right?
Yes, that's exactly why I'm trying to move out of the state.
Exactly. I don't blame you, girl. I don't blame you. Okay, let's move on to the news that stuck out with us this week. Before we go back to the past, let's take a look at the present. Lindsay, how about let's start with you?
Okay. So
Because Because I'd rather not start with me.
No, I know what I'm doing.
Right.
I have my planned news. Don't worry.
I got you.
Just gonna go off of memory because I have it memorized. So I've been following Fallout 76 news because before it came out, I kept considering if I wanted to get it or not, and then afterwards, I wanted to see once it came out how it was doing and if I should get it soon or not. Well, my verdict is that I'll wait if I ever do get it.
That's a
There's
pretty
been
good
a
verdict.
lot of controversy for Fallout 76, where there'll be all of those bugs and things are going wrong online and the servers shutting and all that stuff. But last night it was just reported that somebody over at Bethesda customer service somehow leaked customer information online.
So, for the
And-
record, I think that this leak wasn't on purpose. I think it was just something that someone stumbled upon as they were making a ticket to get the bag that was supposed to be in the collector's edition. If I recall correctly, it wasn't like someone who was purposefully, trying to look up people's information on Bethesda's service. It was just like he was just bopping around, and then when he put in the ticket, bless you. When he put in the ticket, it just, all this information popped up, and it was kind of free willy from there.
There was like this one tweet of someone I saw. They were like, "Hey Bethesda, I like see I put up my ticket and I can see other people's information. This isn't good, right? This is like really bad, right?"
I think that was the first one actually, because that's the one I keep seeing referenced in all the articles that are reporting.
Jessica something or other.
Yeah.
Jesse.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then it apparently, like, the PR, there was like a community manager who was like, not to steal your news story, Lindsay, but like there was like from what I could recall, like a community manager said something like, "Oh yeah, it's fixed." He didn't offer an explanation as to why, and then afterwards Bethesda put out like a PR response that was kind of like BS. It was just like, "Oh, whoops, sorry, but it won't happen again." Like all the other fuck ups that just happened with our game. Like all these empty promises that they keep making. This whole game is just a PR nightmare. I don't get it. I don't get it. Bethesda is one of the biggest companies in gaming. To have this level of incompetency is just wow. It's just amazing. Yeah.
It's really startling.
Not too good.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about Fallout.
Ding, right?
I'm here all night.
He was making math jokes earlier, ladies and gentlemen.
I was.
Yeah, it was quite.
They were
quite humorous.
prime jokes
Yeah.
in more ways than one.
So Tim, what's
I
your
thought
news?
they were more composite.
Tim, what's your news story for the week?
Well, Epic Games, you may I don't know. Have you heard of them? They're like kind of a nobody.
Never heard of them.
They made there's this game called Fork Knife or
Fork Knife.
Four Nights or I don't know, whatever.
Or Fortnite.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But Epic Games is going to be launching their own kind of Steam-esque storefront for games, which will be coming in 2019, which is obviously a very big deal because they're doing very well right now. That could be some kind of interesting competition between them and Valve.
Yeah.
And even like the cut of profits they're offering developers is it's much better, as opposed to Steam, at least the way they've laid it out on the announcement page that they have on their website.
Right.
And it's going to be hand curated stuff, which maybe means just better quality and less influx of random garbage.
Yeah, shovelware.
On there. And yeah, just overall pretty interesting. I mean, it makes sense. They're pretty much rich and big now. So
yeah,
it'll be very interesting.
I think the way that Valve started was more or less in the same manner, was like riding off the success of Half-Life. And I believe Team Fortress, this was way back in the day, in the early 2000s. And it was just kind of like they made a name for themselves as developers, and then they just said, hey, there's no unified PC platform for PC gamers to buy games off of, so let's just make one. And they did. And they kind of, in doing so, they kind of monopolized the PC gaming market, right? And then, like CD Projekt Red did a lot of the same thing. Not CD Projekt Red, I should say. Their parent company, CD Projekt, did a lot of the same thing, where it's a little more complicated in that sense, because like it's a bigger company, it has more media properties, but it's the same kind of mindset where they were successful in the software properties, so they're moving on to making their own software platforms. And Epic Games doing the same thing is an awesome move. I think that this whole, like, all of their counter kind of arguments they're making as to why this should exist, as opposed to as opposed to in the same space as Valve, it all makes sense. Like, it's curated stuff, not shovelware. Like you said, more profits go to developers. I think developers are excited for this, to be honest. Topic of the show this week is Star Wars Rogue Squadron, celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. It released, I don't know why I keep going like this. It released originally on December 3rd, 1998 for the Nintendo 64, and it was one of the first games to use the console's Expansion Pak. If you don't know, the Expansion Pak was like an optional, kind of like the same concept of the Xbox One X with the PS4 Pro, only this is like a modular device, and you could hook it up to your Nintendo 64 and it'll display higher resolution graphics, which is pretty cool for the time. It kind of upscaled things to like a PS1 type of quality, and or I think even higher than that, slightly higher than that. Very cool device. If you look it up on YouTube, it's awesome. Anyway, let's break it down. What did you guys think about the game's presentation today? From what I recall, I didn't beat the game. I didn't beat it. That's my caveat. But it is like a 20-hour long game from what I read online. So yeah. It's a pretty lengthy game. It's so presentation-wise, what did you guys think of it? In terms of graphics, in terms of quality of the terrains and the ships. What did you guys think of that?
Well, the different ship models seem like they're like pretty like decently well done. I am not familiar with like all the different like types and whatnot of the Star Wars universe, but um, I mean, I'm familiar with some of them, but regardless, they still look. It feels like they hold up pretty decently.
Did you guys get to see customizable like the decals? You could put like decals on the like the X-wings. The X-wings are the ones that predominantly the Rebel Forces use. Did you see like the decals that they were managed to put on them?
I didn't see that. No.
It's pretty cool. Like you could put it on the wings themselves, and uh, you can like customize. It's not like totally customizable. It's still like it's very much the same model throughout, or whichever one you choose. Like if you choose the snow cruiser in Hoth, then it's gonna be the snow cruiser. It's not gonna really change a lot, but you could put like different decals on them and customize them before the mission. It's a pretty cool little caveat there. I think it's like so you could like uh, feel like you're Luke Skywalker in this vehicle, and it's totally customizable, etc., etc. More immersive, I suppose. Lindsay, what did you think of the graphics for Star Wars Rogue Squadron?
They were pretty basic. What you would expect from the N64.
Oh, really? You didn't think that they were
Yeah.
anything like a step above?
Yeah, it was pretty basic.
Hmm, that's interesting. Maybe because you're spoiled and you don't. you're only playing like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on these things, so you know. No, I'm just teasing. Yeah, I feel like so I saw it when it was with the expansion pack and without it, and I played it with the expansion pack. It's the one on Steam is the one with the expansion pack, like kind of built in already because it's Steam, 21st century, you know what I mean? But uh, without it, it still looks kind of good in my opinion. Like I don't think it was. I think it was maybe like a little less than Ocarina of Time or something like that, but it still was pretty good for a third-party game. I think it was pretty good, you know. Especially since they didn't have access to Nintendo's proprietary hardware. From what I read online, like a lot of they had to go through a lot of loopholes in order to even get Nintendo to get them to get Nintendo's permission to use the expansion pack, which is it's a very interesting development cycle. But let's move on to the sound design and the music of the game. What did you guys think of that?
I mean, I thought it was decent. That was more like Star Wars themed, so
This game did not impress you at all, didn't it?
it's like
Do you not like Star Wars?
about Star Wars, like the constant shooters like that, I'm not impressed by too much. Uh,
Oh, you mean
Because
like aerial
it's just like
shooters?
one element. It's just like shooting, shooting. Okay,
Right, 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 right.
it's really it. I mean, sure you get the different environments and whatnot, but mm,
Yeah, that's also one of my complaints of the game. I'll get on that when we talk about the gameplay, but that is
mhm.
something that I agree with you on is that there's not a lot of variety there. Um,
Yeah.
Tim, what do you think of the sound and the music of the game?
Um, I mean, it sounds like pretty Star Warsy. Um,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, they've got all the musical cues and uh, tried their best to mimic what you would hear.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for the N64 as best as I could do.
Right.
Um, Yeah,
Yeah,
not much else to
I
say about it.
so I don't know why I did so much research in this game, but I did. And I found out that the composer for the game, whose name I don't remember, he actually went to LucasArts and he said he asked them to give him like the original scores of the movies of the original trilogy, and I think a bit of the upcoming episode 1, because I think by then it was already in 1988, it was already kind of like in its inception. I'm not entirely sure, but it's something of that nature, and we'll get on that later. I have proof. We'll get on that later. But he went to LucasArts and he asked them, and they said no. No, they said yes, and they gave him some scores, but they were all like almost unusable because they only gave him like bits and pieces. So what he did was somehow he recorded, like he played the movies, and they had to develop. This is Factor 5, the developer. They had to implement some kind of technology to record, like capture the audio, and then they made their own renditions of the audio that were slightly different from the movies, so that LucasArts wouldn't get mad or something. It was pretty cool.
Oh,
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
they had to invent tech to like emulate the audio. And that's so cool. I thought that was so cool. Um, and because I'm a big Star Wars fan, I should probably add that caveat. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I love almost. I won't say I love every movie because I don't. I love the original trilogy. Uh, the prequels are
we don't speak
okay.
of them.
They're no episode 3 is good. Episode 2 is
I
absolutely
loved you.
terrible.
You are my brother.
Not yet.
I have the high ground.
Later.
I have the high ground, Anakin. It's over.
Of course.
Yeah,
Supposed to be the chosen one.
I hate you. I loved you. Okay. Stop with the memes.
Etc.
Et cetera, et cetera. Exactly. I love those movies. The new ones, the sequels today are what they are. I don't really know what to think of them. I need to reserve my opinion until episode 9 is out, and I pray to God that it's not terrible. But I love the music of these movies, and I love like the orchestral score that goes along with them. And I think the game Rogue Squadron really capture that pretty well. In part due to the technology, but also like the way that the game plays out. So you guys have probably seen the very opening level, right? In the desert planet Mos Eisley, I think it's called.
Yeah,
Right?
I saw that.
Yeah. So I think it starts out, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, with a like destroy all the targets in the area type of mission, right? Where you have to just destroy
Mhm.
all these targets, whatever. Pretty self-explanatory. And then it's like this like desert, not a desert theme, but it's just like this very plain opening theme that's to be expected with like Star Wars movies. And then the game transitions to you going to a village. It says go to this village and then protect the people in this village because the Imperial fleet is like attacking this town or whatever. So like you have to go to the town, and the thing that's so cool about it is that as you're flying like across this desert to get to the town, and then once you enter like a certain proximity of the town, the music just changes, and it's like much more like upbeat, and it's faster, and it's like there's more like excitement because it feels like oh, this is like an epic battle that we're like protecting all of these citizens that you don't see because there are hardly any NPCs. But yeah, it was just like this really cool, awesome transition that made me feel like I was in the movie. It was awesome. I love that part of it. It was really immersive. I don't even think. I think actually, you know what? I think Star Wars games even today, that's probably like the biggest, the highest quality that they have even today with DICE developing them. The sound design is just phenomenal. It's just so good. Like I don't know if you guys have played the new Battlefield or Battlefront 2 or the original Battlefield. Have you guys played any one of those two?
Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 1 or 2. The I keep saying Battlefield. I can't.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, Battlefield, Medal of Honor, no,
Medal
no,
Front.
Medal of Honor, yeah, Medal of Honor is completely out there. It's not even existent anymore. No, Battlefield.
Sorry, what was
Dice's Battle.
what was your actual question?
Dice's Battlefront or Battlefront 2. Have you
Okay.
played any one of those two?
Okay, I think I played. When was Battlefront? The first one was released.
2015.
Was that like 2015?
2015, yeah.
2015, you said?
Yeah. 2015.
Okay, yeah, then I played that one. Very briefly. Oh wait. So I'm trying to remember. Was that the one that didn't have single player?
Yep.
Or like okay. I remember people didn't like that.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. But yeah, I did play that one a little bit, but I didn't ever play a sequel.
Yeah, I didn't play Battlefront 2 either. Did you play Battlefront 1 or 2, Lindsay?
I played a bit of the first one when I visited the game room at my old college, and I was like, hey, Battlefront 1 is here, I might as well try it. So I tried it, and it was just me running around aimlessly with, the stormtroopers shooting at me. And that was
memorable.
really it. There wasn't much going on in the game.
The gameplay is so, like I don't understand. Like it's just so, I don't know, very boring kind of. Like
Yeah.
somehow they got the original Battlefront games. I keep saying Battlefield. I gotta stop it. Somehow they got the original Battlefront games made by LucasArts and they made them boring, which is like I don't even know how that's even possible, but they did. And like you could do like first person, third person perspective, which is great. And I usually play in third person because that's how I play Battlefront. But the best part of those games was the sound. Like when you were shooting the rifles, like that pew pew, like it's just so awesome. Like it's so gratifying to hear that.
Wow, it's so lifelike.
I mean, I would assume that's what it would sound like in real life, no? So like, yeah, like pew. Oh, you mean me? Yeah. You hear that, Disney? Tim says like I'm very lifelike. You could hire me, please. Pew pew pew. It's awesome, you know. And I loved that was probably like one of my favorite sound design choices. It's just like that the very like cool pew pews. And then just the music in general of the Battlefront, like when you're out there in the field, just like raging hell with stormtroopers and the like. Just it's a very cool experience. And I feel like getting back to Star Wars Rogue Squadron, it's a lot of that. It's there, like it's a really excellent sound design and music. I wouldn't be surprised if that technology kind of trickled down to other LucasArts properties, and they just kind of retained it because or they reused assets because that's one of the signature of Star Wars games, and I hope that doesn't go away ever. So moving on to gameplay, I know Lindsay, you said that you do not like the gameplay of Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Just very boring, right?
The other Star Wars games I've either played or watched, they do have more variety to them than just, you're shooting through the worlds and that's pretty much it. So I guess I would be a terrible Galaga player. But,
yeah. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. It's true. The game, so that's kind of my complaint with the game too. It boils down to 3 missions, mostly. There's a target-based mission, a rescue-based mission, and then a protect-based mission. And that's it. There's no other variety. You can't land the ship and like shoot people. That's it.
Yeah.
And like the game does things. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, it just seems like it would get repetitive over a period of time. Like I would I would lose attention for the game because it's like, oh, I just did something like this, in the previous mission or a few missions ago.
Right.
Like, how is this any different than what I just did? Sure, a different location, but
Mm-hmm.
I
The
don't
way that
know.
I think so, from what I played, it feels like you're playing the same thing over and over again. It does, but
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, you don't notice that. Like I feel like my like myself going through the motions of like, okay, now I have to do this thing, and it's the same thing I did like 3 missions ago. That's I'm very used to it. But it didn't upset me for some reason, just because I enjoyed being in that universe so much, because I'm a big Star Wars fan. If you're not a Star Wars fan, then like you would probably this would be much more noticeable to you. It would be much more repetitive to you. But because I'm a Star Wars fan, I liked doing these things and being in this world and completing these missions, because I felt like I was Luke Skywalker in that cockpit, and I was like, the music kind of like put everything together. I was like, yeah, I'm doing these things, and like this is sometime between, I don't know, the second and third movie, I think, or New Hope and Return of the Jedi and New Hope, I think. I'm not sure, but I felt like I was Luke Skywalker, and that really kind of that was one thing that made me immerse myself more in the experience, and it wasn't really bothersome to me. But I could imagine, again, I didn't beat the game, so I can imagine if I played it for like 20 hours, then I would have become much more noticeable from my perspective. Tim, what did you think of the gameplay?
Mm, honestly, I had wanted to watch more of the game, but I um so what remind me again, like how many like different types of like objectives are there?
They're more or less just 3. It's just target based, rescue based, and then protect based. There are some little different things here and there, but it's more or less just that.
I mean, do you find it like legitimately gets harder, or is it just kind of like eh?
It does get harder. There are time limits. There are more people to rescue, more targets to hit. It gets legitimately harder. So, it keeps you on your toes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Again, it is the same thing over and over again. It's true, but there is some challenge there to be found.
Mm-hmm. What was like? I mean, well, I guess there have been like a decent amount of Star Wars games before this, or at least like a handful, right?
Who, me?
Or like even the NES, there were some.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. There are tons
Was
of Star
this
Wars games.
was this like the first one like in like three dimensional,
I don't think so.
or were there other ones?
I think there was another
Okay.
one.
Gotcha. Just trying to get like perspective of like where this falls in that timeline and what people would have like how they would have reacted. Like, oh my god, I'm in a thing doing things.
Mm-hmm. Right.
This is amazing. But um, yeah, I honestly didn't see much of the gameplay, but
Right.
I don't know. I could see people getting into this type of thing since it's like it's the world that they love and it has all the things in it. And
Right.
I mean, it looks pretty decent. The
Mhm.
sounds seem to be there, and
people like me, basically, who are big Star Wars nerds, and they're kind of already in this world. So, that more of it certainly won't, hurt them. They'd probably be pining for that. So, yeah, I mean, they knew they knew their market. What can we say? Right? Yeah. So overall, what did you guys think of the game? Would you think it's worth playing in 2018? Do you think it doesn't really hold up? Lindsay, what do you think?
I think it's worth playing for Star Wars fans, people who love shooters, flying games and such. I mean, I will probably play through it at some point. I have to get through the Star Wars movie series myself. So
Have you seen a single movie of Star Wars?
I've seen 2 of them, I believe.
Which ones?
I keep forgetting. It was the first and second of one of the trilogies.
Okay.
I think it
That's
was before,
that's
it
a
was
start.
before Vader.
Okay, so the prequels maybe?
Yeah, it was the prequels.
Whoa. Whoa.
Do you recall? I mean, do you recall cheesy lines?
Yeah.
Jar Jar Binks?
Yeah, Jar
Okay.
Jar was there. I remember
Yep.
Jar Jar.
There you go. My condolences. I'm sorry that you started out with those.
Uh,
I mean, you got to start somewhere. You might as well, right? Tim, what do you think of Star Wars Rogue Squadron? Is it worth playing today?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I just want to make sure. I mean, it
Yeah,
seemed
no.
obvious, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I didn't play it, but I would definitely give it a try. Since I've gotten more into playing the Star Wars type thing, like in recent years. So yeah, I mean, I personally would be interested to try it. I don't know that I normally play this type of game, but I would still give it a bash.
Okay. As for me, I think this game it holds up today, and it should be played just because I just think it's a really fun Star Wars game to play, especially since the God damn it, the Battlefront series is
keep
I know
doing
I
it.
keep doing it. I have to stop. The Battlefront series today is a little, I don't know. Some might say it's a little dicey. Oh, nobody got that pun because of dice.
No,
Oh,
I got it.
now I got it. Yes.
Oh, God. Okay. Some might say that's in a dicey situation, but in recognizing that, they might want to go visit prior Star Wars games. I'd say that this falls into that must play kind of Star Wars games catalog, next to maybe something like Star Wars Force Unleashed and the original Battlefront games, the ones that LucasArts developed. It's a very good flight simulator game, a very good space simulator game. I don't feel like the gameplay quite holds up today, because I think today's audiences are very trained in kind of sensing repetition in the gameplay. So I feel like that's going to wear on people. And the other part I feel like is going to wear on people is something that Lindsay brought up before, is that there's no on foot gameplay here. It's just purely in the cockpit of a spaceship. And because of that, there's not a lot of variety. Like you're just in the ship the entire time. Some games like Starhawk and Warhawk, they might have spoiled us, and even the Battlefield games today. That I'm using that correctly. And the Battlefront games too. They have you could space battles they have on foot sections, et cetera, that might have spoiled people today, and they might be like, hey, I can't, walk around in this environment that I want to explore, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that those aspects are going to be a little hard to swallow for today's audiences. But if you go with an open mind and you want to listen to some really good Star Wars music and play some good retro games, then definitely you should at least play this in like short bursts. That's probably my best recommendation, is just to play it for like an hour at a time, then play something else and play something from the modern day. It's a good kind of thing to play on the side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I feel about this game is that it either needs more interactivity, which, it could be the characters doing something on the ship, aside from, oh, you're controlling the ship, you're shooting. It could be something like, in the Final Fantasy games where they're all in the ship and you gotta talk to the different characters to move on with your next mission or whatever.
Right.
I'm a big fan of interactivity, of course, because gaming is interactive. So the other thing that they could have done was add more variety to the goals themselves.
Right.
I think it would have been more fun if, I don't know, it had some goals maybe similar to like Halo or something. Like you kind of do what the aliens would do in Halo. You like ride around on the ship and you shoot the enemies. And you'll have like some other goals or something. Just more variety, more interactivity.
Yeah, and Halo was a little after then, so
Yeah.
it could have been, it could have been possible. It's just maybe the technology was a little different between 1998 and 2003, 4. I don't know when the first Halo came out. Around then, so like maybe the technology was a little, but it was a little ways off. But there could have been something there, And another good point that you bring up is that there are no personalities in the game. There are no. I don't think I've seen I don't think I ever saw a face. I think it was always just the ship, right? And I think today, like we're spoiled. Like we're spoiled with people in our games. We're spoiled with mascots, and production values and stuff like that. Like Hollywood, basically, production values in our games, and we don't really get that. Yeah.
It has to do part with psychology. If it's something familiar, or if it's something like I don't know, soothing, or just like you said, a face or a mascot, something like that. You put that into the game, your brain is gonna say, I want to play this more because of that familiarity or whatever.
Right, you identify with the characters. Like you want to be in the same space as them. That makes sense. It's just this is a very video game. You know what I'm saying? It's a video game. It's not an experience. It's not like a it could be experience if you're like listening to Star Wars music. Like the same experience that you get when you listen to a good album like Breaking Benjamin. But it's in that case, it's not like where everything's put together like Uncharted or Halo or whatever. It's a game. It's a video game. Is probably the best way I can describe it. So that about wraps it up for our thoughts on Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Join us next week as we celebrate Sonic Adventure. That released on... When did that release? December 23rd, 1998. It's also celebrating its 20th anniversary. Everything's celebrating its 20th anniversary this month.
1998 is a big year.
It was a big year, wasn't it? Wow. Ocarina of Time, Rogue Squadron, and Sonic Adventure. The thing about Sonic Adventure is that it released 2 days prior to Christmas. That's so strange. That's so strange.
Everybody had to run out. Oh, I need that for Christmas.
Maybe that's why it sold so well. And then people played it later on and were like, "Whoa, this is shit." But anyway, I'm gonna reserve my opinions on Sonic Adventure. I've played a lot of Sonic Adventure when I was a kid, man. Oof.
Hey, Sonic Adventure Battle 2, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I don't know the
Sonic
name.
Adventure 2 Battle.
But
Yeah.
that apparently was a really good game.
We'll discuss this next week, Lindsay. I have
Okay.
I have many opinions about Sonic Adventure series. Moving on to what are we playing next week aside from Sonic Adventure? Lindsay, what are you playing next week?
Let's see. Next week, I think that I'm getting the game Moonlighter via GameFly for
Oh,
the
cool.
Nintendo Switch, so I could review it for another site. Well, I'm also waiting on them to pay me, so it's pending that too. Let's see. I mean, I'll try to play Overwatch. It's hard to find time for that game. And I'm still working on 2 reviews for King Gamer, which are Graveyard Keeper and Thief Simulator, which I love those games so far. So,
I heard Graveyard
can't
Keeper is
wait.
really good.
yeah, Graveyard Keeper is good. I had mixed opinions about it at first, and then it took me a while to catch on to certain things about the game.
Hmm.
Sad to say it, but once I did, I do enjoy it a lot more. So
That's great. Tim, what are you gonna play for the next week?
You could probably guess by this point.
Battlefield 5?
oh,
Yeah. No, you mean Battlefront.
Please don't confuse me, Tim.
Ugh.
I'm already so confused. I don't
Call
know
of
what I'm
Duty?
saying anymore. Call of Duty Black Ops 4? That's the latest one, right?
Yep,
Okay.
that one.
Really? You're gonna play that? Oh man.
No, yeah. If I play anything, it would probably just be Minecraft again. But
Minecraft is good stuff, man. That's some
Yeah.
good stuff. I don't blame you.
yeah,
I,
no, it's
you keep going back to
It's
it, man.
pretty great.
It's great. Yeah. I'm
Mhm.
happy for you. I'm happy that you found a game for you. That's awesome. As
Yep.
for me, I'm going to play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I may or may not have been playing that already, but I will be playing it in a legal manner. As soon as it comes out, which it should be in a couple hours as the time of this recording. Yes, I'm really looking forward to that game. It's been getting really good
My
reviews so
brother
far.
just purchased it for me, but I asked for it as a Christmas present, so I'm waiting till Christmas.
My condolences. You have to wait that long? Oh no. No.
Wait, I have plenty of games to play. I'll just,
But this is
I'm
Smash. Sakurai put his heart and soul into this. The man is literally
could
inside the
wait.
game. He put his
He could
a part
wait,
of himself.
like,
No, he
2,
cannot
3
wait. He cannot wait.
Oh.
He's already making DLC for you, man. He's already woman. He's already making DLC. This is this game, man. This game.
Even PT Piranha is joining in on the party
PD
in a
Piranha.
month.
Piranha Plant, PD Piranha, whichever you want to say. Oh man.
Yeah, it's not PD Piranha, it's Piranha Plant, like you
Piranha.
said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
David. There's a difference. Please.
No, okay, he was right. I was wrong.
I'm sorry, I don't know my Peter Piranha lore. that well.
Oh,
How to grow peanut butter. I
I
don't
was
I don't grow in my
initially
pack.
incorrect. Okay.
Regardless, it's gonna. I'm so looking forward to playing that more.
Hmm.
Just a tip for people who are picking it up. The Richters in this game are like OP as fuck. They're like really. They feel so good. Oh my god, they feel great, man. The the
They
the
might need to
the
come
the
out with a
Belmonts.
patch.
Maybe. I suggested that. Actually, I wrote a preview for Ultimate not too long ago, and I suggested that they might need a patch for Ridley, because that guy is, whoa, it's crazy. His moveset is just crazy. But I don't know if they nerfed him. I didn't really play a lot with him yet, so we'll have to. I'll report back next week to let you know. But
Hmm.
definitely the
Do
Richters
you
and yeah. Sorry, Tim.
do you think that that this new entry is going to smash the sales records of the past one?
I don't know. I I, I can't say. You know, in all seriousness, I can't say, because the Switch is selling like crazy astronomically, and I think Breath of the Wild was the best selling Zelda game ever made. But historically, Smash games don't sell like crazy. From my knowledge, they don't sell like, they're not system sellers as much as people think
Hmm.
that they are. It might be a different case because a lot of Switch games, especially first party Switch games, they sell like crazy. So I wouldn't be surprised if this breaks that trend. But
Mhm.
we
I
definitely
mean,
have to wait and see.
currently with the past games, it makes sense because the Smash community, I feel like, is so closed off to newcomers, and like you know,
Right. I mean,
uh, a
the
lot of a lot of professional Smashers will have problems teaching them. Like they feel like they're elite, so.
yeah, like
Yeah, they'll be
the
like, "Oh,
melee
you
guys.
suck at Smash. You can't play with us or whatever." So,
Yeah.
it's hard
Yeah,
for newcomers to feel welcome and like they want to play the game.
it's the melee crowd, you know. I mean, I don't want to put
Yeah.
all the blame on the melee crowd, but it's true. I mean, a lot of it is comes from the melee crowd. Um, part of me feels like this game has the potential almost to replace melee, just because it's just so, it flows so well. It's so tight. Like, it's just a really
Hmm.
great game, mechanically. But another part feels like it's just gonna be like 3DS Wii U, where like, yeah, it's, it's
Right.
good. It's great even, but like melee is the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's gonna be like that because people they hate Brawl, right? Um, and 3DS is like,
That's pretty much the consensus.
right,
Yeah.
like the lowest. Like, if we were to make a tier list right now, the lowest would be the original Smash, right? And then like after that would be uh, Brawl, right? And then it would be 3DS Wii U, and then it would be Melee. I don't. I feel like Ultimate is gonna go after Melee, but above 3DS Wii U. That's my tier list as of right now. It might change. I don't know. That's based on the community and how the community plays with the characters, but that's my thing going in right now, having played a couple hours. So,
Yeah, I feel like it'll either be number one or number two spot.
hmm,
Because with Ultimate, uh, people didn't like the mechanics changing from melee to brawl. You got the tripping and all that. You got the different movement tech, all that shit. Like
right.
it changes from one game to the other. So all those melee people are like, "Ew, I don't want to match games."
Hmm.
Those are inferior melees where it's at.
But
So.
if you look at Ultimate, they have air dodges, they have tripping.
Mhm.
A lot of this melee, a lot of the stuff from melee is being implemented in Ultimate. You know,
Mhm.
that's why I think it's gonna be at least as is right now. It's already slightly better than Wii U. You know,
Mm.
it's just, I mean, freak, there's 74 characters in this game. Like, Jesus Christ, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I
Like
thought,
we're gonna have to see what the community thinks of it as a whole, because
right,
uh,
exactly. Because really the community is what makes or breaks a fighting game. That's how
yeah,
it has been, that's how it always will be, in my opinion. So we'll have to
yeah.
see. But as far as it stands now, I think it is my favorite Smash. I like
Mhm.
it. You know, I'm not a competitive player at all, but just in terms of style, in terms of content, just in terms of the whole package, it's awesome.
Yeah.
The spirits mode, I didn't play a lot of it, but like it's really fascinating. 1,300 spirits to collect? Are you kidding me?
That's
Jesus,
amazing.
that's
Like, mm,
astronomical.
my thing with Smash, like after I felt like I couldn't get into the competitive scene, was about experiencing the game as a whole. Uh,
Right,
I had
that's how I
to,
look at it too. Yeah.
yeah, I had to experience, getting all the trophies from like adventure mode, story mode, classic, all that.
Mhm.
That's where I had to find my enjoyment from. Um,
Right. I'm right there with you. Like I like just playing really I like playing with other people. Just a group of 2, 3 other friends, and that's how I spend predominantly how I play Smash, as I think most people do. But like when I'm on my own, yeah, I like playing arcade mode, but I like playing when I was playing when I had Brawl, I played the shit out of Subspace Emissary, and
mm,
have a very good feeling that I'm gonna play the shit out of Spirits mode, so or Adventure mode, whichever World of Light, however you want to say it. So yeah, I mean, it's all about the experience for me too. It's like it's just a celebration of gaming, you know. Not even just Nintendo,
yeah,
it's just gaming in general. And I'm so grateful for this game, you know. Even if I haven't put
like
an astronomical
it's
amount of hours
gonna
in.
it's gonna be great because I yeah, I can't wait to play with friends and family.
Mm,
And like you said, solo is gonna be amazing because you get the experience in solo, so you got the spirits mode, but then you're gonna get a separate experience from playing, uh regular battles with friends.
exactly.
And then you get to go online, which is another separate experience. There are just so many elements to the game. It's great.
Online's gonna be shit. Everybody knows it. So everybody knows it. It's not like you know. Uh, Tim, are you gonna pick up Smash?
Um,
That's a no.
God, it's been a no. No, I was gonna say that the last I picked up Brawl for the Wii. What was that, like 10 years ago or something?
About, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I enjoyed that. I usually didn't have people to play with, so I definitely appreciated stuff like the single, the subspace emissary and um, other like single player stuff.
Arcade
Um,
mode, stuff like that. Yeah.
mhm. I mean, there's definitely like some cool characters that I wouldn't mind playing as in Ultimate.
Like which ones?
And I like the idea of King K. Rool for some reason. I don't know why,
Hell
but
yeah,
he's
King
pretty
K.
cool.
Rool. I love King K. Rool.
But yeah, I mean, I'd probably be up for like the single player stuff. Um, but still, I don't know that I really have people to play with. I mean, I might still do like battle bots or whatever. Um,
Right.
and I usually generally don't like fighting games. Um, I don't get super into them, but
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
from what I've played
would
of
maybe
this,
possibly be interested in getting it.
from what I've played of Spirits, it's fun because like the characters are all modified somehow. So it's a very unique experience just because when you're playing it, you never know. I mean, you know what to expect because of the description, obviously beforehand. But it's I don't know. It mixes up the formula in such a way that you have fun by yourself. That's what I'm grateful for in that in the spirits mode. Like there are some things like that are like even like throwbacks to arcade games. Like I didn't see this one for myself, but I heard that there was one based off of Pauline, which is the original princess in Donkey Kong, right? And
Hmm.
there was like you had to defeat like overpowered Donkey Kong while also fighting against like a weak Mario or something like that. And there were barrels falling from the sky, something of this nature. It's just like it's a unique twist on the whole formula, and it's while at the same time being a throwback to Nintendo's history, to like all these other games history, like Konami's history, um, Square Enix's. I don't know Square Enix, but like, because I hear that Cloud is not in Spirits. I didn't test this out, but in any case, uh, it's a nice, cool throwback for people who are into retro games, which our listeners should be, since you're listening to Time Hop Podcast. Yeah, definitely gonna pick that up this week. That about wraps it up for the show. Any closing thoughts, guys?
Can close a window or close a door.
Jesus Christ.
Um,
Tim, what's going on today?
I take things literally. And you wanted closing thoughts, and I gave you some.
Okay. It works. It works. Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it, man. I'll take it. Lindsay, what about you? Any closing thoughts about Star Wars Rogue Squadron? Or anything in general? Smash? Your life? Anything you want to get out of the way? Any crimes you want to confess to?
Crimes.
I know
I
you.
think that you have to confess some crimes.
Like what? I didn't do anything. What have I done?
Concerning a certain game.
I don't know what you're talking about. Nintendo, I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know. Alright, that about wraps it up for this episode of the show. In case you don't know, you can catch us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and YouTube. Of course, I'm David Lozada again, joined by Lindsay Schubert at Red Yoshi, right, on Twitter? And
Yes.
Tim Ronan. Thank you again, everyone. Join us again next week for Sonic Adventure. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.